My name is Paul Cruz and I am the original inventor of the Boilie Cutter. It's been a long process. I actually thought about the idea about 5 years ago. I started work on it 3 years ago. I've been gone through various different prototypes using different materials, and now got virtually the finished article and certainly the final prototype before going into production. This is my patent grant certificate, and the patent number is GB2500732. So I own the rights to this in particular invention. What I find, if you're very much like myself, due to work commitments, you can quite often only get maybe a 24-hour session in. We all know that day ticket waters nowadays are heavily pressured, and what I was really after was a major edge over everybody else, to give me the maximum opportunity to try and catch carp when I only had a window of opportunity of an overnighter and maybe a 24-hour session. So, understanding that carp shy away from boilies, they've been used to them for years, they associate round baits with danger. What I wanted to do is give them something to feed on which had all the nutrition of boilies, but made it very more difficult for them to pick the bait up and associate it with the round bait. For all of my fishing now, what I do is cut all the baits, and with the Boilie Cutter, it's not just cutting them in halves, it cuts them into quarters, so it gives the carp loads of different shapes, if you like, to be able to suck the baits up, because some of them will just have an edge cut off, some will be quarters, some will be halves. I don't fish now with a round bait at all. What I'll do is put two halves back to back on a hair, or maybe one bottom bait is a half and then a half a pop-up. And to get the baits out into my swim, I use a spom. And I use that now for all of my fishing, and my fishing has definitely improved on my catch rates. Also, what I found was trying to cut boilies. There's another Boilie Cutter out on the market, but I found if you're using a slightly softer bait, that can jam up and it can only cut a small amount of boilies at any one time. With my invention, you can cut around 30 baits in one go, and it saves sitting there with a standing knife trying to cut them one by one. You can chuck it in the rod holder, you can forget about it. It's extremely robust, made of aluminium. Like I say, this is the final prototype. It will come in powder coated green. You've got a scoop at this end for scooping the baits out of the bag, or you can fill them in. There's a viewing hole here, so you know when the tube is full, and then there's a laser cut 1-inch slot running down the length of the tube. At this end we have a screw-in cap, which means that you can clean it out, and to be honest with you, I've never found the necessity. I've never had baits jam up on me. I've never felt the necessity to clean it out, but you do have a screw-in cap there if needs be. Very simply, I scoop the baits into the tube. I then hold the scoop at the top, and then I put the blade in there, run it down. There's the baits all chopped, which go in the bucket. What we've got is a bucket of chops. That's 5 kilos chopped, and the time on there 12 minutes 5 seconds. I believe there is no quicker way of being able to cut your boilies to that quantity, whereby you can constantly now go out, as I mentioned before, with your spod or your spom rod, or put them into PVA bags, or if you're at short range, catapult them out. Like I said, don't put a round bait in the swim. Yeah, we all know how wary carp are around baits, and this, I promise you, will give you an edge over everybody else. Yeah, the carp haven't seen this style of fishing before. Obviously, if you've got a bait boat, well, then you can put it all in the back of the bait boat. Very robust piece of kit. Come in two sizes. It will come in this size, which will cut 18 and 20 millers. There is going to be a smaller version, which will do your 14 and your 15 mil baits.